Welcome to the Comprehensible English Hub podcast. I'm so glad you've decided to join me today. Whether you're commuting on a coffee break or just curious about improving your English, you're in the right place. We believe that learning a language should feel natural, engaging, and most importantly, understandable. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where a tiny difference in English words completely changed the meaning of what you wanted to say? You know those moments where you think you've got it, but then a native speaker gives you that slightly puzzled look. It happens to the best of us. Imagine you're in a bustling art gallery, say the Tate Modern in London or MoMA in New York. You want to tell your friend about a fascinating painting. Do you say, let's look for that painting, or let's look at that painting? One small word, add or for, can make a world of difference. One might lead you to admire art, the other on a wild goose chase. This isn't just about memorizing vocabulary or grammar rules. It's about understanding how language works in real situations, absorbing it naturally. This is the heart of what we do here, an approach called comprehensible input. Simply put, it means learning English by understanding messages, not by consciously studying the language itself. Think about how you learned your first language. You weren't drilled on verb conjugations as a toddler, were you? You were surrounded by language. You heard stories, you understood what was being said, and gradually you started to speak. That's the magic we're aiming to recreate. Today, we're going to explore two very common, yet often confusing phrases: look at and look for. And we're going to do it by diving into some stories, some real-life context, because that's how our brains are wired to learn. Let's start with look at. Picture this. See, I was in Paris a few years ago. It was my first time, and I was completely mesmerized. I remember standing on the Pont des Arts, the famous Lovelock Bridge. Though, most of the locks were gone by then. The sun was setting over the Seine, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Absolutely breathtaking. My friend who was with me, a Parisian local, nudged me and said, "Just look at that sunset. Isn't it incredible?" In that moment, we were both directing our attention, our eyes towards the same beautiful scene. We were actively observing it. To look at something means to direct your gaze towards it, to focus your vision on it. My friend didn't say, "Let's look for the sunset." The sunset was right there, impossible to miss. We were there to look at its beauty, to absorb it. Think about other times you might use look at. Perhaps you're in a business meeting, a very common scenario in many Western workplaces. Your colleague is giving a presentation. They might say, "Could everyone please look at slide number 5? It shows our quarterly growth." Everyone in the room turns their eyes to the screen. They are looking at the information presented. Or imagine you're with your child, maybe in a park in, say, Vancouver. A bright red cardinal lands on a branch nearby. You'd whisper, "Quick, look at that beautiful bird." You're guiding their attention, their vision to something specific, something present. Let's explore this a little more. I remember when I first started learning Spanish. I was living in Barcelona for a summer. My Spanish was, well, let's say emerging. I was trying to buy a train ticket. The machine was new and confusing. A kind local tried to help. He pointed to a button and said, "Mira esto," which means, "Look at this." He was directing my eyes to a specific button I needed to press. I was looking at the button, trying to understand its function. He wasn't telling me to search for a button, he was showing me the button. So look at involves a direct object of your vision. You look at a painting, you look at a screen. You look at a person when you're talking to them. A good tip for any social or professional interaction in North America or Europe, by the way. A direct eye contact, looking at the person, generally signifies confidence and engagement. So the core idea with look at is presence and direction. Something is there, and you are consciously directing your sight towards it. You are an observer, you are taking it in. Think of it like a camera focusing on a subject. You point the camera and it looks at the subject. Now let's switch gears. What about look for? This little word "for" changes everything. It introduces an element of searching, of seeking something that isn't immediately apparent or is currently missing. Let me take you to another story. A few Christmases ago, I was with my family in a small town in the German countryside, famous for its charming Christmas markets. My nephew, who was about 7 at the time, had his heart set on a specific wooden toy soldier he'd seen advertised. The market was a labyrinth of stalls, filled with festive lights, the smell of gingerbread, and mulled wine. It was magical, but also incredibly crowded. We were all trying to help him look for this particular toy soldier. We weren't just casually browse, we were actively searching. We went from stall to stall, our eyes scanning the displays looking for that one special soldier. In this case, the soldier wasn't right in front of us. It was an object of a search. We had a goal, find the soldier, so we were looking for it. My sister would ask the vendors, "Excuse me, we're looking for a wooden soldier, about his tall, painted red and blue. Have you seen one?" She wasn't asking them to look at a soldier she was holding. She was asking for their help in her search, to help her look for it. This happens in everyday life all the time, doesn't it? How many times have you misplaced your keys or your phone? I do it more often than I'd like to admit. Just this morning, I couldn't find my favorite coffee mug. I was wandering around my kitchen, peering into cupboards, muttering to myself, "Where is it? I need to look for my mug." I wasn't looking at the mug. If I were looking at it, I wouldn't need to look for it. The mug was missing, and I was on a quest to find it. Or consider a professional context. Imagine you're a recruiter in a company, maybe a tech startup in Austin, Texas, or a financial firm in Frankfurt. Your manager might say, "We need to look for a new software developer with experience in Python and cloud computing." The company is searching for a candidate. They don't have this person yet. They will sift through resumes, conduct interviews, all in an effort to look for the right person. They will look at many applications, but their overall goal is to look for the one ideal candidate. See the difference? They look at the applications to help them look for the perfect employee. Let's pause for a moment. Do you see how the context, the story, makes the meaning clearer? This is the essence of comprehensible input. We're not dissecting grammar rules here. I haven't given you a chart of phrasal verbs. Instead, we're experiencing the language in situations that hopefully feel real and relatable. Your brain is naturally picking up the patterns. When you hear look at, you associate it with seeing something present. When you hear look for, you associate it with searching for something absent. This natural way of learning is incredibly powerful. Dr. Stephen Krashen, whose work is the foundation of this approach, emphasizes that we acquire language when we understand messages, when the input is comprehensible. It's not about conscious effort or memorization, but about subconscious absorption. And stories like the ones we are sharing are packed with this kind of comprehensible input. They provide context, emotion, and repetition in a way that makes language stick. Let's consider a scenario where both might be used to really highlight the contrast. Imagine you're planning a hiking trip in the Rocky Mountains in Canada, or maybe the Swiss Alps. First, you might spread a large map on the table. You would look at the map, studying the trails, the elevation, the lakes. Your eyes are focused on the map itself, absorbing the details. Then your friend might say, "Okay, now let's look for a trail that's not too strenuous but has great views." Now, you are shifting from general observation of the map to a specific search. You are scanning the map, looking for something specific, a trail that meets your criteria. You look at the details on the map to help you look for the perfect trail. This distinction is crucial. If you tell someone, "I'm looking at my wallet," it means your wallet is in your hand or in your sight, and you're observing it. Maybe you're checking if you have enough cash. But if you say, "I'm looking for my wallet," it means your wallet is lost and you're frantically searching for it. The emotional state is completely different. One is calm observation. The other is often tinged with panic. A small preposition, a big difference in meaning and feeling. This reminds me of a funny incident. I was at a conference in Chicago a while back. During a break, I was chatting with a fellow attendee, an English learner from Italy. He was telling me about his challenging morning. He said, "I was looking at my hotel room for 20 minutes. I was a bit confused." I thought, why would he just stare at his hotel room for 20 minutes? Then it clicked. He meant he was looking for his hotel room key, or perhaps even his room itself in a long corridor. If he had been looking at his hotel room, he would have found it already. What he meant was he was searching for it. We had a good laugh about it afterwards, and it became a memorable learning moment for him. And for me, it was another reminder of how vital these small distinctions are for clear communication, especially in a fast-paced, multicultural environment like a conference. This is why understanding the nuances is so important. It's not just about being correct. It's about being understood clearly and about understanding others accurately. When you master these subtle differences, your confidence in speaking English will soar. You'll navigate conversations more smoothly, whether it's a casual chat with a new acquaintance at a pub in Dublin or a critical discussion in a boardroom in New York. So, how can we make this stick? The beauty of comprehensible input is that the more you encounter these phrases in meaningful contexts, the more intuitive they become. You're not just memorizing, you're acquiring. Let's try a little mental exercise. Imagine you're at a vibrant farmer's market, maybe Pike Place Market in Seattle or La Boqueria in Barcelona. If I say, wow, look at those strawberries. They're huge and red. Are you searching for them or are they right there catching your eye? Exactly, they are right there. You are looking at them. Now, what if I say, excuse me, I'm looking for the stall that sells organic honey. Do you know where it is? Am I observing the honey or am I trying to find the stall? You got it. I'm searching. I'm looking for it. One. More, you're at home and your partner says, can you look at this picture my niece drew? It's so cute. They hand you a drawing. You take it and examine it. You are looking at the picture. Then your partner says, oh, I can't find the drawing she gave us last week. Can you help me look for it? I wanted to put it on the fridge. Now, you are both on a mission to find the missing drawing. You are looking for it. See? The more you play with these scenarios in your mind, the more natural it becomes. You're building those neural pathways, connecting the language to meaning, to real situations. What we've done today is a small example of how language acquisition can feel. It's not about drilling. It's about engaging with content that is interesting and understandable. The stories about Paris, the German Christmas market, the conference in Chicago, the hiking map. These aren't just tales. They are vehicles for language. They provide the I+1 that Dr. Krashen talks about. Input that is just a little bit beyond your current level, challenging you gently, allowing you to grow without frustration. You understood the stories, and in doing so, you absorbed the difference between look at and look for. The what here is the common confusion between look at and look for. The so what is that understanding this difference is crucial for clear communication and building confidence in English. It helps you avoid misunderstandings and express yourself precisely, whether you're admiring a view or searching for your lost keys. And the now what? The now what is to start noticing these phrases in your everyday English interactions. Listen for them in movies, podcasts like this one, and conversations. Try using them yourself. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are just stepping stones. The Italian gentleman at the conference made a small error, but it led to understanding and a memorable story. Think about it. When you look at a piece of art, you appreciate its details. When you look for a hidden treasure, you feel the thrill of the search. Both actions involve your eyes, but the intent, the context, and that tiny preposition change everything. This method, learning through compelling, comprehensible stories and context, works for all aspects of language. It's how you can move from understanding individual words to truly grasping the flow and nuance of English. It's about making the language a part of you, not just something you study. As we wrap up this episode, I want to leave you with this thought. Language learning doesn't have to be a chore. It can be an adventure, a journey of discovery, when you focus on understanding messages that are meaningful and engaging to, especially those that resonate with your own experiences as someone navigating Western cultures. The learning happens almost by itself. You are looking at a new way to learn. And if you're looking for a more effective, more enjoyable path to English fluency, you found it. Thank you for joining me today on the Comprehensible English Hub podcast. I hope our exploration of look at and look for has been helpful, and more importantly, that it has shown you a glimpse of how natural and intuitive language learning can be. Keep listening, keep understanding, and keep enjoying your English journey. Until next time, immerse yourself in the stories around you.